In Mabel's book, The Easiest Way, there's a quote that was just handed to me here by Susan at the top. It's from Dan Millman. Love is the sword of the soldier. Wherever it cuts, it gives life, not death. Thank you. What kind of questions do you have? Comments, thoughts, feedback? I knew there was one, yes.
I have a question. My comment is this is it's fantastic. I'm just having a wonderful time. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Ditto.
Oh, we're getting applause.
I'll share something.
Yes.
I would say the biggest thing that's helped me so far was when Dr. Lynn showed yesterday the diagram. So when the guy was up there talking about rage, I would visualize the diagram and I was sending thank you, I love you down to the memory, then up to the divine. Where before I think I was sending it right to the divine, but this feels cleaner or more healing for me to send the I thank you, I love you down to the memory, up to the divine, and then I felt the clearing, the cleansing.
See, what happens, you cannot go to the divine directly.
You cannot what?
You can't go to the divine directly. It's not possible. You have to, it's a whole, I guess the message of Jesus is before you can go to the divine, you have to take the mote out of your own eye. Anybody heard of that?
Yeah.
You have to take the mote out of your own eye, so you can't see God. So the question is, where is the mote? In your subconscious. It's a memory. You have to go through there. So the subconscious is really the bridge home, and which means that when you do this cleaning, you're using the total resources of your being: divine creator, the spirit, which is the superconscious, the conscious mind, which is the intellect, and the subconscious, which is the physical part of mind. So when you do this cleaning, you're using the entire resources of your being. Who am I? I'm divine creator, the superconscious, the conscious, and the subconscious. And so every problem that you have is located in the subconscious. So you have to go through there. You can't go directly to the divinity.
That's probably why I was feeling a lot more healing when you shared that with the diagram and go down to the memory, which is the subconscious.
See, what happens, though, is the reason you're able to do that is somebody did their cleaning. All of a sudden you go, oh, I can do that. So you want to thank whoever in the room that did their cleaning. So now what happens is there's no future for memory, you know? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to do why you got this. I'm hoping that you're going to take this home with you, and if you lost it, but the story is you can't talk somebody out of something. You can't talk to them out of it. You have to erase it in you, because once you erase it in you, you erase it in them. No talking is going to, like David said, no talking is going to change anybody's mind. You think you did, you manipulate it, but you ain't going to change it. They're going to come back and hit you. This is why when you go into it with a therapist who thinks that you're the problem, the therapy is long. I mean, it just goes on. And I don't want to seem catty, but I am going to be catty. Like lawyers, I'm being catty. Like lawyers and psychologists, they'll make money off of you because you're not willing to be 100% responsible. They can't help you. When you go to see them, you're actually helping yourself help them. I think it's wonderful, don't you? So you got to get that. Now, if you get an inspiration to go to a massage therapist, you're getting that inspiration because there's something that you have to clear with that massage therapist. But that massage therapist ain't going to do anything for you. Only God can do that. Somebody said to me this morning, but I go to see massage therapists. I said, lucky you. But if you're going to see the massage therapist so that they can help you, you're doing it backwards. So you got it. So if you're a massage therapist, great. Then you can clean up the stuff before they show up. I have a massage therapist friend in Hawaii. She, for about a year or so, she didn't quite know what to do with herself. So she'd do her cleaning, the person would show up, and they kind of have coffee. I mean, that's the way it would unfold. They're having their coffee, and she's going, I should do something because I'm going to charge her, yeah? So, and essentially, at some point, she got comfortable with that. And so she, in her mind, she said, well, I got to do something. So she went to her regular routine, but it was already done. But she had to go, I don't know what massage therapists do. I'm not trained to that. But can you imagine, you have already done it with God. So it's so much easier to work with, whoever you are and whatever you're up to, it's so much easier to work from zero. So blessed, the message is, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. So if you're a massage therapist coming from zero, from a pure heart, the person who's coming to see you will just fall in love with you. And they'll send more people. I had a psychologist friend of mine who was concerned if she did the cleaning, nobody would show up. Well, she did the cleaning, and she had more people than she could handle, and she decided because she could handle them quicker and faster, she now only has a practice of 3 days instead of 5. And she spends a lot of time overseas. I don't know what she does overseas. Okay, so here's zero. This is, when we're at the pure heart, we're all family. This is family. The carpet, the table, the chairs, the air that you breathe, because you are willing to let go of whatever it is that creates problem. Okay, here you are. So now, for whatever reason, and I don't know why, these parts I don't know, divinity decided to create my friend here. Okay, why? I have no idea. Okay, so she decided to create. So out of nothing, I am the I. I come forth from the void into light. So now she's created as a light being. So here's the divinity. I'm going to put DC, or the infinite. Now, the infinite decides, in creating her, going to create her spirit. Going to give that to her. And this is called the superconscious. Then decide, for whatever reason, I don't know, decides to give her a part of her in which she will have choice. This is called the intellect. This is the conscious mind. And this conscious mind, the only purpose of this conscious mind is choice. Divinity said, you can go my way, or you can go to hell. I'm sorry about that, but I want to be clear, so when I leave, I know I was clear, yeah? So here's where the choice is. And if you want to be more poetic, this is a choice that Shakespeare says through Polonius, who is, I forget, in Hamlet, where Polonius says, to be or not to be free. To be or not to be free. So this part of her has the intellect in which she can choose to be free. Like you, like me. Okay? And then there's a part here called the subconscious. And that subconscious holds all of the doo-doo since the creation of time. Mountain. This is why you hear Jesus, people like Jesus, Muhammad, and all, they say, you can move mountains because your mountains is just plain old memories. You can move mountains if you're willing. But here is where the problem is. And this is called what I'm going to call, to make it easy, the child in you. But this is really the physical part of the mind. I'm going to concentrate on this because it's so important for you to be aware of that. So, let's say she's operating, and if she's operating from that, we're operating. So let's say she operates from memory. So I'm going to draw it here so that you can see the simplicity of it. So when her memory plays, our memory plays. So we hear with that memory. We don't hear from zero. It's the memory who's talking. So when my friend over there gets angry, it's not him that God created. Zero. It's the memory playing. And the subconscious simply mimics that. So it's not him. He's perfect. You're all perfect. What is not perfect is the data and the information. That's what you got to work on. So, not only do you hear it, so in your cells, but you're not your cells, but your cells are effect. Your body is just an effect of these things going on. It's not real. It's hard to, this is a hard concept. But somebody will say, well, I can touch it. You can only touch it because you have a memory of touching it. So not only that, not only do you hear, but you see with your memory. And as I did yesterday, I don't know what I did with it. I put my dark glasses on. That's how we see most people. We see them other shades. We don't see them as God sees them unless we take our glasses off, called memory, and we see them perfectly. So you see them. Now I'm coming back to the rage thing my Irish friend is talking about. And so you have a feeling, but your heart is broken. This is the emotion in you, the anger and the resentment and the hate. And I have to tell you the truth of it. It's a hatred for yourself and God. Because you are against yourself. You were created perfect, but you have, in fact, put up a barrier against yourself and God. By taking it down, wow. I mean, it's just beautiful to take it down. And then, of course, the thing that really gets us into trouble, as Mabel says, we speak from memory. And what do the Indians say about speaking? We speak with a forked tongue. And they will know it. I may be talking to her, if I speak out of forked tongue, she may not be consciously aware of it, but she will know it at the more deeper level, that I'm telling her bullshit. They'll know it. You can't not know it. The whole universe knows it when you speak this stuff. And the whole universe weeps. So one day I got on an airplane, and they put me on first class. This is a lower airline. I go, wow, big deal, huh? I've never been on first class, a lower airline, big deal. And I'm sitting down. Just as I'm sitting down, I hear this sigh. The sigh goes like this. Have you ever heard that sigh before? What does that sigh say to us? When you sigh, what does the sigh say? Yeah, I feel like, God, I'm overwhelmed. So I'm cleaning now, because that's a memory. I'm hearing something, the sigh. And I said to the sigh, what's happening? And this little plane, 737, said to me, I'm tired. Now, yeah, now I'm on the airplane. Yeah, and I did my cleaning. But I'm on the airplane. I go, oh. Now if you don't remember, one of those airplanes, the whole shell of it blew off. Yeah. So I'm on, that came up on, oh, and so now the plane is sighing. So I'm beginning to do my cleaning, and I had a conversation with the airplane. I said, please tell me what it is that I need to make amends for. And this is the story of the airplane. We never get any rest. When we're not carrying passengers, we're carrying cargo 24 hours a day. But you guys get on the airplane, you don't talk to them. Boy, you should get on there, and before you go, you should talk to them. Hello? I know it sounds crazy, You're sitting in the lounge, like I always do. And I'm talking to the airplane and getting, whoa, I tell you what's on the airplane that I need to clean up. The connection is enormous. We abuse them. And now, is that wrong or right? No wrong, no right. It's just so. See, we get stuck in, it's wrong. Hey, bullshit stuff. It's the way it is. So now you get to erase it. But this poor airplane, 24 hours a day flying past, and it was tired. And you don't want somebody working for you who's tired on your shift. I mean, yeah. Like mothers who are overwhelmed sometimes by having a new baby. So it's like you get to, like Mabel said, you get to talk to things. You get to talk to the baby. I love you. You get to talk to the baby's clothing. You talk to everything about this. Boy, you talk to the clothing on your back. because I remember having a client come in. She was going to go for an interview for a job that would pay something like $1.5 million. I never saw that kind of money before. So I'm sitting there doing my cleaning, and I hear the clothes say to me, this is her clothes saying, we're not the right clothes for this interview. And I'm going, I mean, really, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, you go, uh-oh. So you begin to take the responsibility, and you begin the cleaning. And as I cleansed, her clothes changed in front of me. I mean, it took on a new fashion. Now, I don't want to tell you what the clothes was telling me unless you come and see me in a break, but you don't want to hear what the clothes said. I mean, yeah. So, you know, you're always taking responsibility. You're always taking responsibility. There's no way you can get out of it, because every time there's a problem, you're always there. So then even the worst part here is called thinking. Now here's what thinking looks like. So here's the soul. This is the bottom here. This is the soul right here. The soul is the intellect in the child. This is the soul of the mind. And so what happens is thinking is you're always engaged. The intellect is always engaged in the data, as opposed to letting go, which is very hard to do, by the way. I want to let you know, hard to let go of data. At least I'm not aware of it. That's why I do my cleaning. But boy, if I get stuck in the data, it shows. That's what my children say, Dad, it really shows, you know. I said, okay, sorry. Yeah. So now, in order to get to the data, which is where the problem is, when you do the cleaning, it goes downward, down, because that's where the hurt and pain is. And then it goes down, and so gently the cleaning rocks, just like sand at the bottom of a river, gently rocks when you say, I love you, and whatever's right will come up, not the whole thing. If the whole thing comes up, you get traumatized. It can only handle so much. So now it comes up, and so that information goes on to the spirit part of you, who's never connected. You know that I showed this non-connection? It's always free of the data. So you have two parts of you always free of the data, the spirit part of you and the divine. So now the information goes up, ding, 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 ding. And remember the old biblical invocation, if you knock, I will open. If you ask, you will receive. So now comes down the data. This is called mana, or purifying energy. It's on the way down. Comes down spiritually, nothing there to clean. Comes down, ooh, all kinds of hanging on to clean there. And then it comes down, and it finally, at some point, it erases. So now, you cannot erase you. So it erases that, erases that, erases that. You're back to zero. Instantly, as again the biblical saying, supposedly Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom, and all else will be added automatically. Instantly, you get inspiration. And all you said was, I love you. Thank you. Blue solar water. Bluebell. Or blue bonnet. That's all you said. I mean, it's incredible, the simplicity of this. When I saw it for the first time, I was just mind-boggled. Because as a PhD guy, I mean, you know, you struggle. You're supposed to struggle. When I saw this, and this old short lady, when I took the course from her the first time, I paid, I think, then it was $500. So I come in, I sit down, there must have been about 40 people, and there's this old lady walking around, you know, I'm watching her. And then she says, do you see this Chinese spirit in the middle of the table? I went, oh my God. During a break, I went home. I mean, what is she talking about? So anyway, so I'm at home. I don't have very much money. I'm at home. I just finished school and all that sort of stuff. I'm at home, and then I just like this pull, go back again. I said, no way, go back. So this struggle And then finally I said, I didn't want to struggle. I went back again. I lasted only up to lunch. She says, you see these earthbound spirits on the ceiling? I'm like, of course, you could see some people go, yeah. Me, I'm going, I only see the ceiling, you know? And so I did it 3 times. And finally, the 3rd time, I said, hey, I can't be paying $500 every time. I'm just going to hang around. This was 1982, so I hung around. And more as she cleaned, so I can get clear. So when you clean, David, me, and everybody who had that memory will get clearer and clearer and clearer because you are willing to be, because the rest of us kind of go, huh? we don't know what's happening. So here's the simplicity of it. So when God created her in its exact likeness. Pure, free, whole, complete. She needs nothing. Now what happens is when the blob comes up, she can hang around with that, which is called illness, ease, disease, or she can say, hey, I don't know what's going on. And we don't, you know. So you have the divinity erase that. Now you get fed your daily bread moment to moment until another opponent comes up. And all you're saying is, I love you, thank you, light switch. Oh, sorry, that's another class. So any questions about that I can clean up because I made you unclear? Yes, ma'am.
What is DC?
I'm sorry?
DC. Energy.
Can you come up here and show me? Now you should be cleaning, you guys. This is something to be cleaned as opposed to you having an opinion. We want to see what she's going to tell us. This is called divine creator.
Divine creator.
Yeah. So we want to thank her because we get to clean with that as opposed to you guys having an opinion. Yeah, you're gonna have to get this. Now the beautiful thing about her being created is she's going to give us a chance. Because for every memory that bubbles up, there's 1 million memory that she's even not aware of. And per second, if there's 15, and there are billions, they're mountainous. So I would like to have Joe kind of talk about this that you read in the book, that you cited about things being happening, but you're not aware of it.
Can I have a minute?
Absolutely. So if I remember, I'm going to give you one of the references that Joe makes. And it's called user illusion. This user illusion gives you a kind of a compilation of all of the, not all I guess, but a sufficient number of research that deals with consciousness. And basically it says, you don't decide. You're not in control. I mean, that's the basic bottom line. You're not in control. It's this little stuff. See this stuff over here? That's pulling the button. It calls you to choose the clothes you wear, the guys you hang around with, the occupation you're in. Sorry, I'm just telling you what's in the book. So I'm going to leave it here if you're interested in looking at this. So I'm just sharing with you that you're not in control. The Greeks call it what? What would the Greeks call this? Fate. Fate, F-A-T-E. You're stuck with it. The Psalms call it hidden secrets. So you know, Shakespeare calls it different names, Chaucer. So these ancient folks have been telling us stuff that we should pay attention to. So any questions that you can ask Joe, yeah? I mean, really, he knows this stuff. So anybody have any questions you'd like to ask him? Joseph.
Did you have a question for me? Do you want to tell me what it was so I can tell him?
Well, I was curious about how
he moved from the very first time he saw this old woman to being where he is now. What's made him hook on and actually do it?
He spent 5 years with Morna thinking she was crazy every day until one day he started to see a lot of what she was seeing. But
And we both got crazy.
and I think this is relevant, what he wanted me to read, which I didn't know I was going to read, but this is from Zero Limits. And this is one of the most powerful sections in the book, especially for people who have read my book, The Attractor Factor, or have seen the movie The Secret. And you know about the power of intention. And you know I've been an evangelist for intentions. Well, guess what I discovered? And look what I read and what I wrote. There's a book called The Wayward Mind by Guy Claxton. In it, Claxton writes of experiments that prove our brain tells us what to do before we consciously decide to do it. In one famous experiment, a neuroscientist named Benjamin Libet hooked people up to an EEG machine. It revealed what was happening in their brains. It revealed that a surge of brain activity took place before the person consciously had an intention to do anything, suggesting that the intention came from that person's unconscious and then entered their conscious mind. Claxton writes, Libet discovered that the intention to move appeared about 1/5 of a second before the movement began, but that a surge of activity in the brain reliably appeared to be about 1/3 of a second before the intention. According to William Irvine in his book On Desire, Why We Want What We Want, experiments such as these suggest that our choices are not formed in a conscious, rational manner. Instead, they bubble up from our unconscious mind, and when they finally reach the surface of consciousness, we take ownership of them. Benjamin Libet himself, the man who ran the controversial and revealing experiments, wrote in his book, Mind Time, the unconscious appearance of an intention to act could not be controlled consciously. Only its final consummation in a motor act could be consciously controlled. In other words, the urge to pick up this book right here may seem like it came from your conscious choice, but in reality, your brain first sent a signal to pick it up, and then your conscious mind followed with some sort of intention like, this book looks interesting, I think I'll pick it up. You could have chosen to not pick up this book, which you would have rationalized in some other way, but you could not control the origin of the signal itself that was nudging you to take action. And I go on to say, I know this is hard to believe. According to Claxton, no intention is ever hatched in consciousness. No plan ever laid there. Intentions are premonitions, icons that flash in the corners of consciousness to indicate what may be about to occur. Apparently, a clear intention is nothing more than a clear premonition. I hear wows all over the place. That is one of the most powerful sections in the book, in my opinion, because it was so eye-opening for me. And it was saying that what we were calling to be intentions were all these bubbling up from up here. And we didn't know if they were coming from memory, or they're coming from inspiration, but we're acting like, hey, I have an intention to do something. We're taking ownership for something that was bubbling from below.
Define premonition.
Define premonition. That's seeing what's going to happen.
Knowing what's about to, or seeing.
Well, I would say use whatever word's right for you. I'm saying seeing, but knowing, you know in some way. You might feel it, you might sense it, you might think it. In NLP terms, it might be in some sensory awareness. You know it in some way. David said this wonderful line yesterday. I keep quoting you. I'm going to make you a guest speaker this later on. He said, I may not get this right either, but it was at dinner, and he said that life is like this giant, long painting that's already painted, and you're in it, and you don't see the painting because you're in it. Correct? That's profound, too.
And you can erase the painting.
and you can erase the painting.
I would like to come back and deal with her word about the word knowing. So just so I'm clear, and you can clean with this as I ask her. So I would like her to tell me what knowing is.
Being sure.
Only because I want us to work on it to let it go. Because, yeah, I'm sorry.
Being sure, being aware.
Yeah. But if you're zero, let's say you were created pure and heart, would you know from that?
No.
Yeah. So
So that's why I don't understand. I've lost something.
Yeah, it's because the memory's blank. The memory is saying for you to ask that question.
Mhm. So I don't understand. I'm lost. There's
Yeah,
something missing.
but you can erase that so that you're not lost. You're back to zero. I love you.
I love who?
Yeah,
I love who?
the memory that's creating
I
you
don't know
being
what
uncertain.
memory it is.
You don't know. Only God knows. That's why you're talking to God. I don't know what's going on. I'm unclear. I love you. But the divinity in you knows why you're unclear. See how wonderful this is. But there's a lot of confusion. So like if she's confused, I'm confused. So I'm cleaning as she's talking to me. Whereas when I used to teach at the university, some universities, I would try to, what? Explain it. You can't explain this. It's this stuff. It's like your mind is filled with these currents, it's loaded with these currents of flow and eddies and so on, and they cannot be explained. When for me, as she's talking to me, I get to see what's going on in this 15 billion per second that I can work on. And why do I want to work on it? Because I want to come home to a pure heart so I can be one with the divinity, and divinity can, in fact, inspire me.
So you have to embrace the memory, which
Sorry?
you have to love the memory, and that's basically on your part, my part, our part. It's a leap of faith because I don't love the memory. It's a pain in the ass. It's complicating my life. I don't love that memory. I want it gone.
Okay.
How can I say I love it? I don't love it.
Yeah, but you heard the idea is resist not evil. You're resisting it.
Okay.
So the way that you're resisting this memory, it's pushing you and you're pushing back on it and it's going to hang around with you forever.
And so what do I need to
I
do
love
to
you.
not...
That's your enemy.
So the I love you is just a leap of faith. Just say it.
No, did you hear some people share with you already? The guy over, he didn't just leap of faith. When he got up 2 o'clock in the morning, he was working on stuff that would lead him to a heart attack. He didn't get up and say, I'm going to take a leap of faith. I'm just going to do it. That's the only thing. Just go do it.
But that's what he did.
He did what?
Just did it.
Yes.
That's a leap of faith.
So where did that come from? You're saying he did a leap of faith. Did you ask him that he did a leap of faith?
No, but what he said was he just started doing it.
Yeah.
That's a leap of faith. No.
So where did that come from?
The enemy, I guess.
No, but I want to know where it's got to come from within you. There's nowhere else it can come from. That's what the point I'm trying to make with all of you. It's always in you. How wonderful to know that. Then you can do something about it, as opposed to David and us being stuck in it. Because we have a lot of stuff about what we think about our children. I'm watching it. He and I both go, yeah, I've had that one. The memory's talking to me. I get to erase that. Yeah. But see, the question is to be or not to be free. We can be stuck. We can try to decide in it, but it's only this stuff. Now, to be so, I want to make sure I'm not sort of haranguing people. If you want to be stuck, please be my guest. And I mean that truthfully, but for me, I'm going to clean because I don't want to be stuck. What am I cleaning? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't want to know. This idea of going to see psychics, oh, you're asking for trouble. Doors will open and you're going to get sucked in and get stuck. So why not just hang around with yourself, because you can't get away from yourself. You're stuck with yourself. So love yourself. Really fall in love with yourself. Because you are loved. You were created like that. Somebody had a question over here. Yes. I'm hoping you're cleaning on it, you guys, because otherwise, When anybody goes who gives it, you have a chance to work directly with God. Yes.
Well, actually, it wasn't a question.
Yes.
It was kind of in relationship to what came up before, and I just had this inspiration to say that it reminded me of a really good a scripture that I will recall from in my life. It's in Isaiah, I will go before you and make the crooked way straight.
Yeah. Otherwise, like he's talking about the book, you wander. This is what is called the lost tribe of Israel, the wandering, which is just a memory. Yes, ma'am.
It also reminded me of yesterday when you were putting the three levels that we are.
Three
and
states.
The three states. And knowledge is, to me, I was equating that with memories. And to say, she used the word know, so to me that was my big memory rather than inspiration.
Good. Now, again, I want you to know this room is wonderful. As long as it's going to clean up our stuff no matter what's going on, because we don't know what's going on. Yeah. Yeah. You have a question for Joe? He's written the book beautifully. But I have to keep saying it's going to throw up stuff like it's throwing up in this room. This is only a small stuff. Wait till it gets out there for millions of people to see. It's going to kick up stuff, which is great. That's what we want.
And now I have to interrupt. Okay. We have to have lunch a little earlier today. It's 11:45 because they have a couple things going on over there. So if you could go to lunch now, which is in the building where you had the supper.